agony of defeat.
Look at him go! Oh, baby.
The human drama of athletic competition.
Noses apart, I can't tell.
This is ABC's Wide World of Sport. It's Derby Day, that special time each year when we all become Kentuckians for one afternoon. Whether we're from the Big Apple, the Big Easy, or the Big Sky Country, we're all on the first Saturday in May, joined together in pride for the world's greatest horse race and for Kentucky, the center of the thoroughbred breeding world. On this day, we're all to the bluegrass born. Some 130,000 of us or more gathered here in person, and millions more watching as you are on the television screen. Again today, we'll sing one song for the old Kentucky home and get a tear in our eye as we do. The Derby, of course, is so much more than a horse race. It's the tradition of 122 previous runnings and an annual occasion for us all. Just to be here is an honor. So it's time for the 123rd running of the Kentucky Derby, the first leg of the Visa Triple Crown Challenge. Well, good afternoon. I'm Jim McKay reporting from the clubhouse turn at Churchill Downs, where the weather is miserable. They tell us it's 54 degrees, but it feels much colder with a 30-mile-an-hour wind coming out of the west. The forecast is for rain. Right now, it's misting. The track is still fast. Well, as we feel that Kentucky pride today, we can still cheer for a horse from our native part of the country, you know. If you're from the east, you may go for Captain Bodgit or Concerto from the Maryland circuit. Westerners will be watching Freehouse and Silver Charm, 1-2 finishers in the Santa Anita Derby. Southerners can take pride in Crypto Star and Phantom on Tour. They finished 1-2 in the Arkansas Derby. And for Irish Americans, wherever they may be, there is Hello, bred on the emerald turf of Ireland itself. However, most of the bettors' attention has been focused all day on two colts. This spring's big surprise, first of all, the exciting come-from-behind Captain Bodgit, winner of the Florida Derby and the Wood, surprisingly the favorite right now at 3-1. The lightly raced but highly regarded pride of Kentucky, Pulpit, the morning line favorite at 2-1, is now being held at 7-1. That's a big surprise. 13 horses in all, $1 million in purse money, and a lifetime of glory at stake. For much more on that, let's go now to our grandstand rooftop condominium and my ABC colleague, Al Michael.
It feels like it. Good time for our timeshare to kick in nice and dry up here, Jim. Well, the Kentucky Derby, it's an interesting class that makes it to this Derby. It's a very late developing class of 3-year-olds, because when you think back 6 months to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, 10 of the top 2-year-olds in the country went to the post that day. None of them have made it to the Kentucky Derby. We have in this race 5 new jockeys, 5 new trainers, the smallest field we've had since 1985, a field of 13, but a lot of depth and a lot of quality. All of these horses have been to the post a total of 110 times with an astonishing 51 victories. And let's take a look right now at the field. 13 horses with 12 betting interests. 1 and 1A, the Nick Zito entry. Jack Flash and Shammy Davis held at odds of 17-1. Then there's Crypto Star, a late charger, 10-1 on the morning line. He's 4-1, being bet heavily. Phantom on Tour with a great Jerry Bailey is 17-1. Concerto has won 5 consecutive races. He's 10-1. Then there's the favorite Captain Bodgit, Alex Solis in the irons at 3-1. Silver Charm is the second choice with Gary Stevens aboard at 7-2. Celtic Warrior has a lot of local connections. He's 30-1. Pulpit 2-1 on the morning line, 7-1 in reality. Hello with Mike Smith up. The Irish bred is 8-1. Then Deeds Not Words, the late entrant from Wayne Lucas, 25-1. Crimson Classic, the longest shot on the board, 70-1. And Freehouse, despite winning the Santa Anita Derby at odds of 11-1, an overlay right there, Jim.
Okay, Al, well, a fine needle-like rain has begun to fall here right now. It's an old story, you know, the competition between an aristocrat and the guy from the other side of the tracks. A story that, by the way, applies to today's race, because the two most talked about horses come from very different backgrounds. I'm talking about Pulpit and Captain Bodgit. The Silks are simple and famous, the bright yellow of Claiborne Farm. For 4 generations since 1910, the Claiborne tradition has grown on 3,400 acres of green beauty. Great champions have been born and raised here. Matriarch Waddell Hancock.
I stop and think about my husband and his father before him, and Mr. Hancock's father that started all this. And I look at my little grandsons now and hope that they're going to continue. It makes me very, very proud.
From his days as a young foal, Pulpit was marked as a potential champion. He springs from nobility. His daddy, A.P. Indy, was Horse of the Year in 1992. Pulpit epitomizes the Claiborne philosophy of careful, top-quality breeding. His dam's name is Preach.
Preach was a Grade 1 stakes winner, and A.P. Indy was a champion. So you have a case of breeding the best to the best there, and you hope you get the best.
They took it slow with Pulpit. When injuries slowed his training as a 2-year-old, they kept him in the barn until January of this year. Then he burst on the scene with 3 straight sensational victories, including this win over Captain Bodgit in the Fountain of Youth Stakes. But in the Florida Derby, the super horse hype was slowed when Captain Bodgit, charging from behind, beat Pulpit, leading syndicate leader Barry Irwin to enjoy the irony of the situation.
Claiborne is who everybody looks up to, including me. They're what the Yankees were when Babe Ruth was around. We're like pirates. We're always skulking around looking for a really neat horse to pick off and then run against the establishment and try to beat them.
Barry Irwin is the president of Team Valor, an assemblage of 32 owners who purchased Captain Bodgit for $500,000 in January. The colt's record in Maryland was very good, but what about that strange bulging deformity on his left front tendon?
We've had 3 different veterinarians look at it and a couple of horsemen, and you can see that there's some damage. The horse injured himself at some point. Exactly what it is a mystery.
Well, the mystery tendon seems to bother Captain Bodgit far less than it does his detractors. His performance in the Wood Memorial, blasting from behind on a track that had favored frontrunners all day, made believers out of many. But Barry Irwin wasn't surprised.
He's a Cinderella horse, there's no doubt about it. To me, there's nothing more thrilling or more gratifying than taking a horse from nowhere and knocking off the big boys.
It's not really little guy against big guy. They've beaten us once. I just hope we can turn the tables on this next time.
Well, there's a good wide look at Churchill Downs on this chilly day. Coming up in just a minute, the Early Times Turf Classic. Stand by.
The Kentucky Derby, the first leg of the Visa Triple Crown Challenge. This ABC Sports exclusive brought to you by Visa, the preferred card of the Triple Crown Challenge. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. Nicorette Gum, now available without a prescription. You can do it, Nicorette can help. Lucent Technologies, we make the things that make communications work. And Priority Mail from the U.S. Postal Service.
Back at Churchill Downs on a gray and windy Derby day. The Derby a little bit more than 50 minutes away, but before that we have another race coming your way, the Early Times Turf Classic. And here are some Nicorette facts. It's the 11th running of a Grade 1 event. The purse is $200,000. These horses go 1 1/8 miles on the turf. It's for 3-year-olds and up, even though there are no 3-year-olds in this race. These horses are 4 through 7. Always a classic. Breaks from the inside 3-1. Talwa, Kent DeSormo 9-2. Down the aisle 6-1. Top Glory is 7-1. And then Volasheen at 14. Hargar at 20. Labib is the favorite 9-5. Same Old Wish is 11-1. And the horses are ready to load for this $200,000 Grade 1 event. 1 1/8 miles on the lawn. And for the call of the race, let's go to Dave Johnson.
Well, Labib is a tough horse in morning workouts and a tough horse to handle during the race. And a very interesting horse in here is Top Glory, who Chris McCarron rode to victory last out after Top Glory raced his 3-year-old career last year in France. 1 1/8 miles on the turf. We've had a lot of rain overnight, and the turf course is officially listed as good. Just 2 horses left to load. Top Glory, who will be ridden by Alex Solis today. And on the far outside, Same Old Wish, Shane Sellers is the pilot. Long run to the first turn here on the grass course. Pat Day rides down the aisle, the great colt, who will be easy to follow. And down the aisle has Pat Day aboard. Pat looking for his 4th victory in this, the Early Times Turf Classic. There's Labib, John Velasquez aboard the favorite. Same Old Wish with the pink blinkers. 12-1. Field of 8. That's Top Glory. Now they're all in line, and they're off. And toward the inside, Talwa getting the early lead along the hedge. Always a Classic is right there second. And then comes Voloshin racing in 3rd position. Middle of the racetrack, Labib moves up as they pass us for the first time. And the pace is slow. It's Always a Classic on the inside, in front by 2. Down the aisle is in second. On the outside, Labib is racing 3rd. Talwa 4th along the inside. Between horses, Voloshin is 5th, and Hargar is caught wide in the purple and yellow colors on the outside. Top Glory has been shuffled back to be second last, and Same Old Wish is the trailer. It's a compact field as they move on to the backstretch, and Jerry Bailey leads the way with Always a Classic in front by a head, but down the aisle on the outside, now up to challenge. Labib on the outside is racing in 3rd in the blue colors. Scooting through on the inside, Talwa with the white blinkers, a close-up 4th. Then comes Voloshin racing in the 5th spot. Hargar on the outside is 6th by a head. Top Glory along the rail is 7th, and Same Old Wish is 8th. Any of these 8th could win it. It's still Always a Classic. Bailey trying to nurse the speed on the outside, down the aisle, and now Labib, the favorite with John Velasquez, caught 3 wide. Talwa looks for some racing room with the white blinkers along the inside as they turn for home. It's still Always a Classic, being urged on the front end by Jerry Bailey. In front by 3 parts of a length. From between horses, Voloshin, the gray is second, and here comes Labib on the outside. And down the stretch they come, Always a Classic. Just a few more yards. Jerry Bailey in front, and it's Always a Classic, wire to wire in the Early Times Classic. On the outside, Labib, the favorite, was second. Down the aisle with Pat Day along the inside, finishing 3rd. At 3-1, Always a Classic, trained by Mark Frosted. And this horse had a winning streak of 3 wins at the fairgrounds. Now comes to Churchill Downs and wins a big one. There's your unofficial winner, Always a Classic. Al?
Always a Classic, the son of Deputy Minister. He's never been worse than second in 7 career races. Jerry Bailey got him out of the gate quickly, and he goes wire to wire at odds of 3-1 to win the 11th running of the Early Times Turf Classic. Back with the race results and more of our Derby preview after this. And back at Churchill Downs, the results are now official in the 11th running of the Early Times Turf Classic. Always a Classic. Jerry Bailey up at odds of 3-1. He pays $8.20, $4, and $3. Labib, tardy getting out of the gate, came up for second, $3.60 and $2.80, and down the aisle finished third, paying $2.80. Always a Classic, the winner. Labib second, then down the aisle, Same Old Wish, Voloshin, Hargar, Top Glory, and Talwa, the complete order of finish. So that's the Early Times Classic, and now, of course, we turn our attention to the main event, the Kentucky Derby, the most bet race in the world, I guess, in terms of gross dollars. And it's always been a weird betting race, and a lot of times the favorite is the horse that is the most hyped, but that doesn't appear to be the case today. No favorite has won this race since 1979, since Spectacular Bid crossed the finish line first. And since that time, the average finish of the favorite, 8th. He has lost by an average 10.5 lengths. The average odds 9-1. And the average win ticket has paid $21.40. Those are really astonishing figures. Well, clearly the 2 top choices, at least as far as the morning line, were Pulpit. The morning line odds were 2-1, and Captain Bodgit, whose morning line odds were 5-2. But a lot of horses can win the Kentucky Derby. We have a look right now at 4 very legitimate contenders.
from Wayne Catalano.
An ex-jockey who rode his first winner at Churchill Downs in 1974, Wayne Catalano not only trains Crypto Star, he's his own exercise rider.
I ride him in the morning, but I can't ride him in the afternoon anymore.
Crypto Star will be ridden this afternoon by Pat Day and comes from far back. And it takes a lot of rooting when your horse is trying to make up 10 lengths in the last quarter mile. That's the amount of ground Crypto Star made up in both the Louisiana Derby and Arkansas Derby. Silver Charm, an $85,000 purchase by Bob and Beverly Lewis, was unbeaten as a 2-year-old. Will the second time be the charm for trainer Bob Baffert, who returns to the Kentucky Derby 1 year after his horse Cavonnier was nosed out by Grindstone. Baffert initially thought he'd won that day, and the bad dream won't go away.
You know what? I think about that like probably every other day, because there's nothing worse than that feeling after that race.
In his first start this year, Silver Charm began a springtime rivalry with another gray, Freehouse. They finished 1-2 in their last 3 matchups. For owners Trudy McCaffrey and John Toffin, the California-bred Freehouse has been a story of faith rewarded. Freehouse beat Silver Charm convincingly in the San Felipe Stakes at Santa Anita in mid-March, and then came right back to do it again in the Santa Anita Derby, the most exciting prep race of the spring. Freehouse is one of only 9 foals from the first crop by Smokester, a horse who raced only 4 times and who never won a stake. Financially, it made little sense to breed to this horse, but the owners had faith.
He had tremendous ability. I mean, he really did. And we think he felt quite strongly that he would have been a stakes winner. And the other thing is, at that point in time, we probably didn't know any better.
If the win by the New York Yankees in the World Series last fall wasn't enough sweet music, Concerto could bring even more to owner George Steinbrenner. Concerto comes into the Derby with a 5-race winning streak that's been a pleasant surprise to even Steinbrenner.
At the start, I wasn't that enamored with him, other than I loved him as a horse. But he has come and accomplished everything that he's done. I mean, I get excited about it, and I can't talk realistically and straight about it. He's just a super achiever.
I'm back and joined now by a man who would have been on another contender, Hello, Chris McCarron, who's won this race twice, but Chris had to say goodbye to Hello and hello to us because of an injury. What's your condition right now?
Well, I took a spill at Santa Anita a couple weeks ago and broke 2 ribs, but I'm feeling a lot better now, Al.
And maybe next weekend you're back in the irons? Or
I'm shooting for next Saturday,
a couple of weeks. Might see him the Preakness, perhaps?
I hope so. That'd be great.
You've been on 3 of the horses in this race. We took a look at one of them in that piece, Silver Charm. You rode him twice, once to a victory and once to a second-place finish. What about that horse?
Silver Charm's a very, very nice horse, Al. He's got a lot of talent. He trains in the morning without a lot of enthusiasm, though. And I think in his last 2 races, because of his attitude in the morning, he probably needed those races. He probably wasn't really fit. I think he's a dead fit horse now, especially arriving from 2 weeks ago at Churchill Downs. He's really thrived since he's been here, so I think he's getting ready to run the race of his life.
Bettors like him right now. He is the second choice. What would Kentucky Derby be, of course, without Wayne Lucas? He's been here every year since 1981. He's here again. He had hoped to run the filly Sharp Cat in the Derby, but the owners opted to run on the Oaks instead, and Sharp Cat yesterday crossed the finish line 3rd, but because of interference in the stretch was placed 8th. So today he saddles Deeds Not Words, and earlier Wayne spoke with Leslie Visser.
Al, I'm sure he is disappointed about the Oaks, but this is Wayne Lucas's 17th straight Kentucky Derby. And Wayne, for those who say that Deeds Not Words has not won a stake race, hasn't won since last August, what merits running him?
Well, we knew that when we entered we were going to be criticized. A lot of people thought that we were running just to be a part of this. We've had that experience, and we've been blessed in this race a lot. But we felt that, in fact, that the field was small. There are some horses along with ours that probably are going to have to make a real stretch to get there. And the way he's handled this racetrack, we felt that maybe it was worth the merit of trying him.
If you'd been able to convince your owners to run Sharp Cat, would you have entered him today?
Yes, we would have done that. That would have had no bearing on this decision for the simple reason that the connections with Deeds Not Words wanted to run, felt that we had a little bit of chance. He's a good horse, you know, somewhere in his form he shows that. And we're not just coming over here to sing My Old Kentucky Home. I think we're going to beat a bunch of them.
Great. Good luck to you. Back to you, Al.
Okay, Leslie. Well, Deeds Not Words has raced only 4 times in his career. 50 to 1 on the morning line, 25 to 1 right now. Chris McCarron was aboard him in his first 2 races. You won with him in his initial race. But here's a horse a lot of people, and Wayne's taking a lot of heat from the media this week. Does this horse have any chance to win this race?
Well, he's got a lot of talent, Al. I did break his maiden. And we all know that Wayne Lukas is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame someday. But if this horse wins today, I think they ought to put another one of these spires up here on top of this roof and call it the D. Wayne Lukas Monument.
Yeah, waive all the regulations.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you anymore. So that's a look at some of the contenders as the Kentucky Derby, the 123rd running, approaches. And we'll return with more action after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
The Kentucky Derby, the first leg of the Visa Triple Crown Challenge. This ABC Sports exclusive brought to you by Visa, the preferred card of the Triple Crown Challenge. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Lucent Technologies, we make the things that make communications work. And Michelob Beer, official sponsor of the PGA Tour. Some days are made for Michelob.
A little earlier, the jockeys relaxing. Shane Sellers looking on along with Alex Solis. A couple of guys who won 4 derbies between them, Gary Stevens and Jerry Bailey, shooting a little pool. And there is Captain Bodgit. And will this be the horse to get Alex Solis into the winner's circle? Right now, Captain Bodgit is the favorite, being held at odds of 3 to 1. Barry Irwin heading the syndicate that owns this horse. And earlier, Dave Johnson was in the jocks room to have a chat with Alex Solis.
Jockey Alex Solis is a graduate of that famed Panamanian jockey school, and 16 years later, here he is, the leading jockey in Southern California. So much is expected of you today, Alex, as you ride Captain Bodgit. Will that affect your ride in this year's Derby?
Well, I don't think so. I'm riding one of the best horses in the race, and I had the world of confidence on him, and I think he's going to show a great race today.
Okay. And Shane Sellers from Erath, Louisiana. Now, that's a part of the country that has produced a terrific amount of great jockeys. You ride Pulpit. Now, Pulpit will have something to say about the early part of the race, unlike Captain Bodgit. What do you wish would happen in the first quarter mile, Shane?
Well, I just wish that he gets off clean and you know, he don't get jostled away from there. And if he does that, the first eighth of a mile, he'll dictate where I'm supposed to be. If that's on the lead, that's fine. If somebody wants to get crazy, then I have the utmost confidence in this coat, and I'll be able to place him where I want and give him a chance to finish.
Okay. Shane Sellers, Alex Solis, friends away from the racetrack, but fierce competitors once that bugler calls them to the post. Al?
All right, Dave, and Shane Sellers will get a leg up very shortly on that horse, Pulpit. Number 8, 2 to 1 on the morning line, but 7 to 1 in reality. And alongside that horse is Charles C. Canty. Hi, Charles C.
Hi, Al. Well, Pulpit's fiery disposition has been much documented. He has a tendency to get hot and worked up in the paddock and in the post parade. But right now he's on his way to what is going to be the single most demanding paddock situation of his life. To prepare him, Frankie Brothers has done a great deal of schooling. You see him reacting now to the crowd. He's having a buck and a play, but that's more just good energy and good feeling. He hasn't turned a hair yet. He's taking a strike here at the people walking too close to him. He is a very fiery personality indeed. Frankie has schooled him a number of times in the paddock here. He's satisfied that he has calmed down, but there are people wanting to run up behind him. There's general excitement here. Pulpit's reacting to it, but he's still maintaining his cool pretty good. Meantime, we'll go back up to Al.
Okay, Charlesy, Pulpit, the horse who did not race as a 2-year-old. Bob Baffert is the trainer, came within a nose of winning this race last year. There he is alongside Leslie Visser. Leslie?
Al, as you know, Bob made this walk a year ago and for a while thought he won the race. Bob, how'd that experience help you for this year?
Well, I mean, this is a different horse. Last year we didn't know the routine. This year we know the routine. So, like they say, the first time's always the best time.
With no confirmed front runner in this race, what would you like to see in the first quarter mile, and might you take the lead?
Well, that's something, you watch these horses when they go up there. If you watch horses like Pulpit, he's pretty springy, he's on his toes. So I expect Pulpit to, there'll be a brisk. I see Pulpit, I see Free House, maybe Silver Charm, you know. The track seems to be playing for speed today, and you hate to take your horse away from his game plan. So it all depends how they break. You know, whoever breaks there on the bit will be in the lead, and that's something that's out of my hands.
Well, he has a lot of support, Al. One note, Bob Baffert sent Bob one rose and told him come home with the rest. Al.
The new media darling, Bob Baffert, once took a picture in the winner's circle on Halloween night with his head in a pumpkin shell. So who knows what would happen here in Louisville, where Bo Derek has become a regular at the running of the Kentucky Derby. Lonnie Anderson has been here since about 10 o'clock in the morning, loves to go to the windows, and all the rest, as the Kentucky Derby is a half hour away. A lot of money going through those windows today. They'll bet about $10 million on the Derby here at Churchill Downs, and about $40 million all around North America, for a total of close to $50 million. Concerto is a horse who has won 7 of his last 8. He has won 5 straight, including the Jim Beam. The owner, the principal owner of the New York Yankees, George Steinbrenner, who won a race earlier today. A horse by the name of Diligence, who was in the Derby last year, was the winner of an earlier race. Captain Bodgit right now is the favorite for the Derby, 3-1. Silver Charm next, 7-2. Crypto Star, the late charger, at 4-1. Pulpit is the 4th choice, 7-1. Hello is now 9-1. Free House, the outside horse, at 10-1. The 6th choice. Concerto is now 10-1. Jack Flash and Shammy Davis are coupled. The Nick Zito entry, 17-1. Phantom on Tour is 18-1. And then the rank outsiders, Deeds Not Words, Celtic Warrior, and Crimson Classic, all long shots. A look at Concerto. We mentioned he is owned by George Steinbrenner, who spoke earlier with Leslie Visser.
Well, Al, here's a man who knows the thrill of victory, 3 World Series wins, but never a blanket of roses. George, how would it compare?
Been here 3 times before, never a blanket of roses. That's a goal for someday. That keeps me going, Leslie.
How do you think it would compare?
Equal. It's great to win the World Championship, the World Series, and I will not say one or the other is the best. It would be a great double, wouldn't it?
Well, you've got a rookie trainer here, his first Derby, and a rookie rider.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know. We're going to have to get some outstanding rookie performances today. Our number 1 guy, I guess you might say, acceptable, went down with a leg injury. And but I have confidence in John Tamero. He's a 4th generation of his family. He's been in this game. He deserves a chance. And so does young Marquez. And he feels comfortable with him, and so do I. His dad rode for me. That's how old I am.
Well, you've done pretty well with rookies. Thank you, George.
Thanks.
Let's go back to someone who knows a little bit about baseball and horses. Jim.
Okay, thanks very much, Leslie. The rain, by the way, has stopped out here. The wind is down just a little bit, but it's still cold. And right now it's time for a Wide World Classic. You know, it's been a long time, 19 years since we've seen a Triple Crown winner. That was a Fern back in 1978. Amazingly, he was the 2nd Triple Crown winner in a row at that time. Just the year before, a $17,500 bargain horse became a national hero when he won the 3 great races. That was Seattle Slew. And here you see him being exercised as he is regularly 20 years later at Chimney's Farm.
He's undefeated in his brief racing career, but today he gets the one and only chance of his lifetime to win America's greatest horse race, the Kentucky Derby. His name is Seattle Slew.
All he ever wanted to do is run. He didn't want to train, he just wanted to run.
Well, I'll tell you, Seattle Slew has broke out and he's lathering all over. His neck is lathering, and really that's not a good sign. The Derby could be getting to him.
My heart was in my throat. Here you made it to the Derby and you have this very special horse, and here he's just dripping in the paddock, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, are we going to make it through this race?
They're at the post. And they're up. Seattle Slew broke slowly. Breaking on the lead, it's Bob's Dusty on the inside. For the moment, showing speed on the outside, gets the lead. It's For the moment taking over by 2 lengths. Then Bob's Dusty Run, Seattle Slew has moved up along the inside and has moved into 2nd. Coming by us, For the moment, the leader, a half Seattle Slew now draws alongside.
When the horse come out, I was last. And to me, it was do or die. If I don't move, I'm going to be last on the first one.
You just don't spot the rest of the field 5 lengths out of the starting gate and make the lead the first 1/4 mile. It was amazing.
Coming to the wire, Seattle Slew opens it to 4 lengths. At the finish, it's going to be Seattle Slew, and he's going along. He's easily. He wins it by about 2 lengths.
Seattle Slew, yes, in fact, may be one of the great horses. He's gotten the first leg on the Triple Crown.
Slew is like a son. I mean, he's my heart.
He made good owners, good trainers, good jockeys. He did it all.
Well, here is a grandson of the great Seattle Slew. This is Pulpit, the morning line favorite here to 2-1, but now being held at 7-1. He was going to be a super horse last winter. Now there seems to be considerable doubt. We'll be right back for the Kentucky Derby.
This Wide World Classic brought to you by Lucent Technologies. We make the things that make communications work.
To post time. The purse for the Kentucky Derby as we look at these Nicorette race facts. The purse is $1 million. The winner takes home $700,000. None of these horses has gone 1.25 miles, the distance of the Derby. For 3-year-olds, each of the horses to carry 126 pounds. Now, because of the entry, the post positions do not correspond to the saddlecloth numbers. So here are the posts. Crypto Star starts from the inside. Phantom on tour next to him. Then Concerto. Captain Bodgit comes out of the 4-hole. Silver Charm from 5. Celtic Warrior. Pulpit comes out of the 7-hole. Hello from number 8. Then Jack Flash and Shammy Davis, the entry, out of 9 and 10. Deeds Not Words, the Lucas horse from 11. Crimson Classic comes out of 12. And Freehouse starts from the outside in this 13-horse field. Joined now again by Chris McCarron and Dave Johnson. This is going to be a very exciting race. It was a slow start, I think, to the 3-year-old season, but it's really heated up. And Dave, let's take a look at some of these contenders now as we go to the paddock. There's Freehouse, Dave, a horse we saw win the Santa Anita Derby. He's won 2 in a row, but no respect from the bettors, 10-1.
Free running, front running, but he's drawn post position 13, which means he may be rushed up early, but he has still found no friends at the mutuel windows.
Then you have Phantom on tour. He was second in the Arkansas Derby. He won the Rebel, but his white blood cell count was up earlier this week, and they thought he might have to be scratched.
Yeah, they took the blood count on Wednesday. He worked out, and they got the results on Thursday. Lynn Whiting said he's okay, and he's okay with a new jockey, too, Jerry Bailey, who won the Derby last year.
Well, Chris McCarron, you have ridden, as we mentioned before, Silver Charm, and he's got another pretty good rider on his back today, and this is a horse that really has to be reckoned with.
Oh, he certainly does. Gary's a great rider. This horse has great tactical speed, Al. I think Gary's going to be able to place him where he wants. He's very cooperative, and he's going to get a great trip.
But twice now he has trailed Freehouse in his last 2 races. Another horse you have ridden, Hello, and you would have been on him were it not for your injury today. A real small horse, but I guess a horse with a chance.
Yeah, he's got contrasting style from Silver Charm. He comes from behind, so I think he's going to take advantage of a fast pace. If there's a fast pace up in front of him, that'll benefit his chances.
Probably the lightest horse in the field, weighing in at about 900 pounds. Then there is Jack Flash. He is the better part of this entry, a horse who finished second in the Jim Beam and pretty well rested coming into this one, 5 weeks.
Yeah, this horse has shown improvement in each consecutive start this year, but you know what? He's going to have to really improve greatly in order to be in the hunt today.
Jack Flash and Shammy Davis forming the Zito entry. Then there is Crypto Star. Dave, here's a horse who won the Arkansas Derby, won the Louisiana Derby, draws that inside post, but he'll save ground because he's a come-from-behind horse.
But there's good news. This is the same route that Grindstone took to the winner's circle here at Churchill Downs last year. They both won the Louisiana Derby. Then Crypto Star came from way out of it to take the Arkansas Derby. And Pat Day probably be last with this horse early, but he knows how to get a horse to the front by the finish line.
19 minutes to post time. Well, guys, it's that time now. We've got to get off the schneid. We've been on the schneid here since 1989. When it comes, well, not Chris. He's just joining us, but you and I and the rest of our crew. Who do you like today?
I like Silver Charm. I loved his Santa Anita Derby. I think it's time for Baffert and Gary Stevens to team up for one.
We'll see if that happens. And Chris McCarron, who is your choice today?
Well, these front runners are going to run into a 30-mile-an-hour headwind going through the stretch, and through the stretch the second time. I like Captain Bodgit. I think he's going to be back, and he's going to take advantage of the drafting effect.
I would like Captain Bodgit, but I'm always looking for that value play. And at 10-1, sorry guys, I've got to put down a few bucks on Freehouse, the outsider. Charlesy and Leslie, whom do you like?
Well, you've picked horses that look awfully well in the paddock. Captain Bodgit and Freehouse, hello, and Crypto Star are looking very good. I've got great respect for this field, but I'll tell you, I'm not going to jump off Pulpit just because he got beat one time. I give him one more chance. How about you?
Charlesley, I think a horse has to have a tough race before the Derby. Silver Charm had that in the Santa Anita Derby. He's got speed, he's got stamina, there's no surrender in that horse, and as Bob Baffert, who grew up near Tucson, says, it's the year for white-haired guys from Arizona. Jim?
Okay, Leslie, well, you know the word Bodgit in England means a guy who can make things work, kind of a Mr. Fix-It. Well, Captain Bodgit has either fixed his own tendon or manages to ignore it, so I'm going to go in the captain's crew. I'll take Captain Bodgit also. For continuous live updates, by the way, on the day's races, check out ABC Sports on America Online. The keyword, ABC Sports.
A look at the starting gate. That gate will be filling up in about 14 minutes. Captain Bodgit is still the favorite at 3-1. Silver Charm is still the second choice, 7-2. Pulpit has dropped now to 6-1 from 8-1 when we went on the air. And the cue for riders up will be given very shortly as the horses are paraded around the walking ring in the paddock, and the paddock judge Ronnie Herbstreit with the command.
All right, up riders.
13 jockeys ready to mount their horses. Wayne Lucas ready to give a leg up to Corey Nakatani. There's Captain Bodgit. Alex Solis in the irons. Wayne Lucas has been doing this every year since 1981. And for 5 of these jockeys, it's the first time they've ridden in the Kentucky Derby. Let's check in with Charleston.
Well, you just got to look at Pulpit there getting his rider up, Shane Sellers. He behaved exceptionally well here in the paddock. His demeanor was perfectly calm. He did stay in his saddling stall the entire time when the other horses took a turn after they'd gotten the tack on. But Pulpit, you have to understand, this activity is bred into him. His grandsire and on both sides were highly strung horses, and he comes by that honestly. So Seattle Slew was able to bounce around and overcome in the paddock and still win the Derby. Maybe Pulpit can too.
Ladies and gentlemen, the management of Churchill Downs Incorporated proudly presents the 123rd running of the Kentucky Derby. Please join the University of Louisville Cardinal Marching Band under the direction of Dr. Frederick Speck in singing My Old Kentucky Home.
And following that, the buzz at this venerable old facility becomes palpable. Now the post parade. Number 1, Jack Flash. Craig Perrette is the jockey. He won this race with Unbridled in 1990, one of the Nick Zito entrants. The other is 1A, Shammy Davis. Willie Martinez in the irons. First time he has ridden in the Kentucky Derby. Number 2 is the late charging Crypto Star. Pack Day in his 15th Kentucky Derby. Won this race in 1992 with Lily T. Wayne Catalano, a first-time Derby trainer. Number 3 is Phantom on Tour. The great Jerry Bailey, who's won this race twice, is in the saddle. Lynn Whiting trained Lily T to the Derby win in 1992. He's the conditioner. Number 4 is Concerto. It'll be very interesting to watch this horse at the start of the race. He might set the pace with Carlos Marquez in the irons. John Tomorrow saddles his first Derby starter. Captain Bodgit, number 5. We've talked a lot about him. Alex Solis in the irons. Gary Capuano has his first Derby starter. Silver Charm, Gary Stevens, brand new Hall of Famer. Our congratulations to the 2-time Derby winner, Bob Baffert, the trainer. Number 7 is Celtic Warrior, Francisco Torres in the saddle. His first Derby start, and former harness driver Danny Hutt is the trainer. Pulpit is off by himself, and to keep him a little cooler, there he is all by his lonesome with Shane Sellers in the saddle, trained by Frankie Brothers, who guided Hansel to wins in the Preakness and the Belmont a few years ago. Hello from Ireland, Mike Smith in the irons, replacing the injured Chris McCarron. Ron McAnally, the Hall of Fame trainer, has been here 10 times, has yet to hit the board. Deeds Not Words, the Wayne Lucas horse, his 32nd Derby starter. Corey Nakatani is in the saddle. Number 11 is Crimson Classic. First-time rider, Robbie Alvarado. First-time Forrest Kalin, a long-time trainer here on the grounds, has saddled a horse in the Derby. And number 12 is Freehouse with the emerging star David Flores, the jockey. Paco Gonzalez, his second Derby starter. Main Minister was his horse in 1991 and finished 3rd. A look at the 13 horses for the Derby, which is 8 minutes away.
In the 1990s, business and sports have become the twin passions of America. In both, the investor must put his money where his mouth is and take his chances.
Morgan 90. All right, I'm at 3/4, 25,000.
But racing's Wall Street has great beauty. The green farms of Kentucky. Why, even the sales pavilions, the trading room floor of racing, has its own dignity. The blue chip stock of racing is the Kentucky Derby, rich in tradition, stability, and dividends. And the most successful investor in the reach and bull market has been D. Wayne Lucas. Today he seeks an unprecedented 3rd straight Derby win. But this year, from a stable of 72-year-olds costing $20 million, he has only a long shot in the big race. And so has his fellow equine corporate raider Nick Zito, picking up the pieces this time instead of the rich options of yesteryear. Is it a bull market or a bear market? Well, many think that this year it's a seller's market. That's Shane Sellers, the new hot stock among jockeys. He rides Kentucky's favorite son, Pulpit, today. Investment clubs are all the thing in Wall Street these days, and so are they in racing. These are the 32 owners of Captain Bodgit, the only horse to have beaten Pulpit. President Barry Irwin bought the colt for $500,000 just 3 months ago. He's worth $5 million today. But there are no sure things in Wall Street, nor are there in sports. Still, the pot of gold is always there for the investor who has made the wisest choice. And who will that be today? Who will win the Derby?
Jim, we've talked about everything except mutual funds. And speaking of the mutuals, a look at the odds with 3 minutes to go for the Kentucky Derby. Jack Flash and Shammy Davis. The Zito entry is 20-1. Crypto Star is now 9-2. Phantom on Tour 19-1. Concerto is 10-1. Then you have the favorite. Captain Bodgit is 3-1. Silver Charm is the second choice at 7-2. Celtic Warrior 35-1. Pulpit started at 8-1 when we came on the air, still 6-1, a big overlay. Hello is 9-1. Then Deeds Not Words at 30-1, Crimson Classic at 71, and Freehouse, despite winning the Santa Anita Derby, is 10-1. Pulpit, meanwhile, has just dropped to 5-1 on the last click. Trudy McCaffrey and John Toffin, two people who have done a lot of wonderful things for racing. They saddled Maine Minister in 1991 to a third-place finish. Trudy, your horse has won 2 consecutive races, yet he's still 10-1. What do you think of your horse's chances today, Freehouse?
Right now, Al, I love him. He looks great out there. He's very relaxed. He went into the paddock like a champ. And I've never seen Paco with so much confidence. I mean, it's the longest 3 minutes right now, but we're doing fine, and I just pray to God that we all have a safe trip and everybody comes home in good order, and hopefully Freehouse will be on the lead coming down the stretch.
Great. Good luck to you. Trudy McCaffrey and John Toppin owning Freehouse. We'll start from the outside. Barry Irwin heads the syndicate that has the favorite, Captain Bodgit. Barry, when you and I visited about 4 hours ago, you told me you couldn't believe how calm you were then. How are you now?
Well, I went up to the jocks room and took a nap for half an hour, so I'm very relaxed right now.
Is that indicative of the confidence you have in your horse?
Yeah, I've got a good feeling about this, and he's going off as the favorite, which I thought he would be, and I hope he breaks that jinx in this race.
You've been around racing a long time. You know a lot about it. What would be a dream trip for you, at least the first quarter mile?
I'd like to see 22 and something, a half, and 46. That's about 8 lengths off it.
And then find that garden spot as they head for home.
Yep, this horse usually makes his own move around the turn. He's unbelievable on the turn, and I think that's when he'll start picking him up.
All right, good luck to you, Barry.
Thank you very much.
Wayne Catalano looking on through the binoculars as the horses get ready to load for the 123rd running, and that's Crypto Star, the Catalano horse, who will be ridden by Pat Day, the winningest jockey in the history of Churchill Downs. Phantom on Tour loading into the gate, and all of the rest. Remember, Crypto Star wearing saddlecloth number 2, but drawing post position number 1. Figures to take back early. The track and stakes record set in 1973 by the immortal Secretariat. Field of 13, the smallest field for the Kentucky Derby since 1985. Quality field. And Captain Bodgit still the favorite at 3-1. Silver Charm next at 7-2. Pulpit now 5-1. And to call the race, Dave Johnson.
It's a fast track. These are all 3-year-old thoroughbreds, all carry 126 pounds, a mile and a quarter, a long run to the first turn. There's number 9, Hello, the Irish bred, trained by Ron McAnally. Part of the entry, Jack Flash, with Greg Perret. Shammy Davis is alongside. Lucas trained deeds, not words. The crowd roars. One behind the gate. And that's Freehouse, the early speedster, who might be pushed along early, trained by Paco Gonzalez, David Flores. Up there is Shammy Davis, unseated, Willie Martinez. The horse is Shammy Davis, the jockey Willie Martinez. Jumped up in the gate. They're going to back the horse out. I know Chris McCarron's been in this kind of a situation before when a horse acts up in the gate. But it looks like Willie is getting back on board. This is one of the Nick Zito trained horses in here. Nick, of course, has won the Kentucky Derby twice. Strike the gold, go for Jim. Now Freehouse is being put in. All in line. And they're off in the Kentucky Derby. On the far outside, Freehouse, the gray, quickly going for the lead. Pulpit is right there into the second spot, and Concerto shows early speed in third at the Wood. Between horses, that Silver Charm with the yellow sleeves racing fourth. Shammy Davis, the horse who was in trouble in the gate, is fifth in the red and white colors. And on the far outside, the long shot, Crimson Classic, going to get caught wide at the first turn. Pulpit battling with Freehouse. Those two in a duel up front. Now Pulpit with Shane Sellers takes command. Freehouse on the outside is second by a length and 3/4. At the rail, Carlos Marquez has Concerto right there, saving ground in third. Silver Charm with Gary Stevens fourth on the outside. Phantom on Tour is next in the orange colors with Jerry Bailey. Then on the outside is the long shot, Crimson Classic. Along the inside, Captain Bodgit now beginning to close a little ground. Shammy Davis, Deeds Not Words. Hello is third last. To make that fourth last. Along the inside, Crypto Star. Jack Flash is second last. And far, far back, Celtic Warrior, about 18 lengths from the front. And back on the front end, the battle continues with Pulpit on the inside and Freehouse on the outside. Flores with Freehouse on the outside and Pulpit with Shane Sellers. Shane asks for a little more speed and gets it. And here comes Gary Stevens with Silver Charm, 3 wide and gaining. Jerry Bailey looks for a little racing room with Phantom on tour, and Captain Bodgit is flying. He's 5th in the red cap on the outside, top of the lane in the Derby. Freehouse gets the lead. Silver Charm on the outside. Pulpit at the rail back to 3rd. And here comes the captain. And down the stretch they come. Silver Charm to the front. On the inside, Freehouse. On the outside, Captain Bodgit. It's Captain Bodgit on the outside. Silver Charm at the rail. Those two to the wire. Here's the finish. Silver Charm by a neck with Gary Stevens. Captain Bodgit on the outside, second by 5. And Freehouse was 3rd. What an exciting Kentucky Derby. 123 years, and you don't get a better race than this. Trained by Bob Baffert, who just lost it last year by a nose. And there's Barry Irwin, who's done a terrific job with his horse, but there's the guy who goes to the winner's circle. Even though it's a photo, the unofficial winner is Silver Charm. There he is. It's Gary Stevens' 3rd Kentucky Derby. He won with Winning Colors and he won with Thunder Gulch. Al?
2 years in a row, a great race, a photo finish a la last year with Grindstone and Cavonnier. And this time, it is Silver Charm, the horse who lost to Freehouse in each of his last 2 races. But this time, he was able to take the lead, and then he was able to hold off the hard-charging Captain Bodgit. With Chris McCarron just for a second, it appeared that the winner began to drift out down the stretch. What do you think the stewards will be looking at right now?
Well, they're always going to be looking at the replay. As soon as the horses hit the finish, the stewards always look at the replay immediately to see if there's any kind of impedance during the running of the race. And it appeared that Silver Charm may have drifted out slightly into the path of Captain Bodgit. We'll have to wait and see if Alex claims foul or if the stewards post an inquiry.
A look at the steward's stand. As Chris said, they always look at the tape, no matter whether something's visible with the naked eye or not. Silver Charm was able to take the lead. Let's take a look at Captain Bodgit coming up on his outside, and it's clear that Silver Charm comes out just a bit. Here it is again.
Yeah, he comes out just a little bit. You can see Alex steady slightly to pull Captain Bodgit away from the hip of Silver Charm so that he has clear running room. And then from this point on, these 2 horses just dogged it out. What a great fight.
And so Gary Stevens, who got to the winner's circle in 1988 with Winning Colors, and there is a closer look, not the official photo, but from our camera at the finish line, but it's pretty clear that Silver Charm is the winner. Stevens winning this race in 88 with Winning Colors, winning this race in 1995 with Thunder Gulch, and winning it now in 1997. Silver Charm, who was the 2nd choice going off at odds of 7-2. And Bob Baffert, who said in several interviews, as you look at Bob and Beverly Lewis, the owners, Bob Baffert saying all they do is think about last year over and over and over. The other tremendous irony here is that Bob and Beverly Lewis, and there is Barry Irwin heading the syndicate for Captain Bodgit, knowing his horse just missed getting up. But Bob and Beverly Lewis have a lot of their horses trained by Wayne Lucas, but this was a horse they gave to Bob Baffert. And Bob Baffert makes his way into the winner's circle. Bob Baffert, who called this horse a ham sandwich because he's not a particularly high-priced horse, an $85,000 purchase, and they have just posted the results to the delight of everybody in the crowd who holds a winning ticket on number 6. Silver Charm the winner, the smiling Gary Stevens. What a week for Gary. The Hall of Fame on Wednesday and the Kentucky Derby on Saturday. Silver Charm the winner of the 123rd Kentucky Derby. The replays, the interviews, the hoopla when we come back. We're back. The results are not official yet. On the last click, by the way, on the tote board, Silver Charm went from 7-2 to 4-1, which means he will pay at least $10. And normally by this point, you have the results being posted as official. Where there have been an inquiry on the part of the stewards, you would have probably heard about it by now. But they have to wait until the jockeys come back in, whether they want to lodge an objection or not. And in the meantime, we will wait for it to be official. And we now understand that there is a tote malfunction, so it has nothing to do with the running of the race. They're waiting to clear up the tote problem. But the winner is Silver Charm, and we'll check in with Charles C. Canty. Charles C.
And the favorite was Captain Bodgit. He was beaten. Alex Solis. The two of you made your usual patented late stretch run, but it was just a little bit too little too late.
Well, the other horse, the sooner he saw me coming, Silver Charm, he just dug in and kicked in another gear. And my horse, he's such a sweetheart. He's still the champion to me in my heart, and I just love him to death. And I had to thank Barry Irwin to give me a chance, and Mr. Gary Capuano for doing a fantastic job. And I just, hopefully next year, hope to God.
You were coming from pretty far off the pace. Did you have any traffic troubles or any excuses along the way?
No, I tell you the truth. On the backside, I was so happy with the position that I had, and I was saving a lot of ground. And I just telling myself, just be patient, and just riding the same way that you did. And when I got around the 3/8 ball, I started making my move, and he started moving, and I thought down the stretch we had a great chance. But the other horse, he's the tough horse.
He always comes running. He's a really great little horse with a big heart. Back up to Al.
Okay, thank you, Chauncey. And the results are now official. The winner pays $10, $480, and $420, and then Captain Bodgit pays $480, $380, and Full House finishes third. So the team of McCaffrey and Toffin, Freehouse, they have now finished third in all four of the Triple Crown races their horses have entered, paying $5.80. Let's check in now with Leslie.
Al, I'm down here with Shane Sellers. Shane, you said at one point you thought you had it won. You had the early lead.
Going into the first turn, in about the middle of the first turn, when I was able to shake loose a Freehouse, and my coach, his ears came up, and I knew the pace was comfortable for me, and we turned up the backside. I really felt like I won my first Kentucky Derby, and just around the last turn, Freehouse made me pick up the pace a little bit, which was okay. And when I set my coat down, coming to the quarter pole, the ground just started breaking away from him, which is typical of this racetrack, and he wasn't able to sustain a drive with the rest of the horses. But you know, you can't take nothing away from the winners. I mean, it just wasn't our day today, but that doesn't change my mind about this coat. He's a great racehorse, and I'm so happy that you know, Cleveland Farms and Frankie Brothers gave me an opportunity to ride this horse.
We don't have it in front of us, but the replay, can you just talk about what happened?
Well, like I said, you know, going in, my coat broke sharp. He broke right on the lead, and I was started slowing him up, and coming under the wire the first time, Freehouse came on my outside, and I had to make a decision to take back. And when I took back, Flores started taking his horse back. So going in the first turn, my horse dragged me up to the lead, and then I was on the lead from that point on.
Tough day for Shane. Thanks. Back to you, Al.
Okay, Leslie, and I'm with Dave Johnson and Chris McCarron. And Dave, here's another look, a head-on view of the start.
And Chris, it looked like Freehouse came out a little bit.
He broke out just a little bit, but he made the lead very comfortably, Dave. And you can see right here, he's got his ears pricked. He's going very comfortably.
And that was Pulpit just to the right. Here's the first turn, and we've got Pulpit on the inside and Freehouse on the outside. The eventual winner is tucked in between horses, racing third at this point. Let's go to the backstretch.
At this point, Silver Charm is in the absolute garden spot. That's the position I love to have on a horse. He's galloping along. He's very comfortable, real relaxed. Gary's got a good, strong hold of him, and he's in the clear. That's the most important point. He's out there where he can do his best running.
And he did his best running here as opposed to the Santa Anita Derby when he was forced to press the pace with the Philly Sharpcat. Couldn't let her get away and didn't have enough at the end to take care of Freehouse.
Well, it's obvious that Gary did his homework watching this horse run. When I rode him in the San Felipe, I took him too far back. He was forced to press the pace last time out. Going with the filly went too fast. Gary rode a very smart race today by getting him back off the leaders and pouncing on them when it came time, and he finished real strong.
And here comes Captain Bodgit on the outside and a dramatic last 16th of a mile. Silver Charm on the inside, Captain Bodgit on the outside, Stevens and Alex Solis.
And the stories in racing, the great stories in racing. Gary Stevens goes into the Hall of Fame. Now he's won 3 derbies. Bob Baffert comes so close last year. Then he finally gets it. And there are Bob and Beverly Lewis, the owners, who will, on the 2nd of August, celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary.
Quite a change from last year.
Oh, yeah.
When Bobby thought he won it, and then when the quota went up, he was the most disappointed man in all of Louisville.
And so the horses are on their way back now to the backstretch. Bobby Baffert, who had hoped to effect that pose last year, has to wait 52 weeks, but there it is. The results official with Silver Charm winning it, Captain Bodgit finishing 2nd, Free House 3rd, the Exacta pays $31, the Tri pays $205, and the Superfecta, the top 4, $350. Pulpit holding on for 4th. We'll get down to the winner's circle when we come back after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
1984 Kentucky Derby was another shining moment for Hall of Fame trainer Woody Stevens, who'd been hospitalized all of Derby week. He watched on television as his horse Swale went to the post. Always forwardly placed, Swale, ridden by Lafitte Fincaille, surged to the lead on the far turn and was never threatened through the stretch. When it comes to the Kentucky Derby, Woody Stevens delivered. The 123rd Kentucky Derby, presented by Visa, continues on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
And we're back at Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky. Program note, tonight, the network premiere of a great film for the whole family, Andre, and then the network premiere of Gun, tonight on ABC. Tomorrow night, America's Funniest Home Videos, and then one of the great movies ever, Tom Hanks starring in Forrest Gump, tomorrow night. Well, we're going to go down to the winner's circle in a moment, but there's Barry Irwin, so confident before the race, and his horse turned in a masterful performance, but just does come up short, finishes 2nd. The winner is Silver Charm, and for all of the festivities, let's go down to Jim McKay.
All right, thanks very much, Al. I'm standing here with Carl Pasquarella, chairman and CEO of Visa, who's going to come up with $5 million if Silver Charm can go on and win the Triple Crown. Good to have you with us, Carl.
Thank you, Jim.
And here is Tom Meeker, the president of Churchill Downs. Another great show despite the miserable weather.
No, it's not miserable. This is great weather for Kentucky.
I know you used to be a Marine, but I'm weak, I'll tell you.
Listen,
okay, congratulations. A great day, 141,000.
Yeah, we had a great day, and I'm so delighted Lewis has won. And Bobby Baffert lost last year by a couple of inches, and he deserves to win, and he did indeed today. And to present the Lewises and Bobby with the trophy, we have our governor, Paul Patton.
Hey, Governor.
Oh, the first Saturday in May is always the greatest day of the year in Kentucky, but this first Saturday in May in 1997 will always mean a lot to Bob and Beverly Lewis. For all that you all have done for racing, let me present you with this trophy. All right. Congratulations.
Robert. Bob and Beverly. Shy as ever.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Bob and Beverly, congratulations. You all have put millions of dollars and all your hearts into this sport. Now, for an $85,000 horse, you've got the ultimate.
Oh, Jim, thank you so much. Beverly and I are so thrilled, and we are just so pleased and thrilled for Bob and the whole Baffert family and the entire Baffert team. It's been a great team effort, and we just can't express our gratitude to the Baffert organization and to all the wonderful people of Kentucky and Ohio and all of you out there that dream of this thing. Gosh, it can happen, and are we thrilled to be here, I'll tell you.
Sounds like you almost have done it before. Bob, win by a nose, lose by a nose, you know.
It was tough. When they came down the stretch, I thought, here it comes again. It can't happen again. I'll have to do the low crawl out of here. But I want to thank the Lewises for letting me buy that ham sandwich for them and taking them to the Kentucky Derby. And I want to thank Mike Pegram. Without him, I would have never been here. He got me from the Quarter Horses. Says, come try Thoroughbred. So, Mike, this is for you, my man.
Okay. Congratulations again to you, Bob. On to Pimlico, of course.
Well, it looks like it right now. Gary says he galloped out fine, so he looks good. We'll be there.
Okay, we're going to talk to Gary and take another look at this race in just a minute. We're going to take a break and come back to Churchill Downs after the 123rd running of the Kentucky Derby. Stay with us. It'll be fun.
Kentucky Derby, the first leg of the Visa Triple Crown Challenge. This ABC Sports exclusive brought to you by Visa, the preferred card of the Triple Crown Challenge. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. Nicorette gum, now available without a prescription. You can do it, Nicorette can help. Priority mail from the U.S. Postal Service. And Southwest Airlines, with fares so low, you have the freedom to go places.
Let's have a look at the final order of finish in this year's Kentucky Derby, the 123rd. Silver Charm, the winner, followed by Captain Bodgit by a nose, then Freehouse, Pulpit, Crypto Star, Phantom on Tour, Jack Flash. Those the first 7. Then we had Hello, Concerto, Celtic Warrior, Crimson Classic, Chamois Davis, and Deeds Not Words. Wayne Lucas's horse this year finished last. He won the race a year ago. Here is Gary Stevens. Gary, by winning your 3rd Kentucky Derby, you joined the great African-American jockey Isaac Murphy, Earl Sandy, and Angel Cordero Jr. with 3 winners. That's not bad.
Some pretty elite company and just an unbelievable feeling. It gets better every time.
And you just picked up this horse before the Santa Anita Derby, right?
Yeah, 2nd race on him, and you know, you have dreams of how a race can set up and how it can go, and this was a dream trip with just unbelievable. I couldn't have hoped for a better trip than what we got.
Well, why don't we take a look at that trip from the far turn.
All right.
Coming home, and you can bring us home. Here it is again.
Well, from midway in the backside, I was just clocking Freehouse and Pulpit. Felt like I had them anytime that I wanted, and as we straightened out into the stretch, right here I untwirled my stick and showed it to this colt a few times, and he's traveling very, very easy right now, and when I set him down hard for the drive, he gave me what I needed, and actually opened up pretty easy right here. And
did you see Captain Bodgit coming now at all?
Well, in the Kentucky Derby, you don't know who it is, but you know they're coming, and he started relaxing a little bit. Now Alex comes up to him, and I thought about Bob and having deja vu from last year again, and this colt dug down deep, and we could have went around again, and he wasn't going to get by him. It's just an unbelievable feeling.
I'll bet it is. Gary Stevens, winning jockey on his 3rd Kentucky Derby winner. You've won with 2 males and a female. You've won good weather and bad, and you deserve everything you get. A perfect ending for this week, by the way.
Yeah,
the same week in which you've been named to the Hall of Fame of Racing.
Thank you, Jim. And,
enjoy it all.
Thank you very much. I'd like to say hi to my kids at home, Ashley, Riley, TC, and Carling. Congratulations to my brother and Cherie with their baby boy hat. So thank you.
You got them all. The Pimlico Special, 1 week from today on ABC's Wide World of Sports. 2 weeks from today, the Preakness Stakes. Can Silver Charm go on to win the Triple Crown? Well, the 2nd leg will be at Pimlico, and we will be there. Once again, if you happen to have just picked us up by any chance, that's the winning jockey, Gary Stevens. There's the winning trainer, Bob Baffert. The winning horse was Silver Charm. He won it by a nose over the favorite, Captain Bodgit. This is Jim McKay saying so long from Churchill Downs.
And the gun